The hearing on April 1st may be joined remotely by following the information provided on the meeting agenda at www.mendenom.gov. 7 o'clock. Greg R. Sr. and Leslie A. Burnham, 87 Millville Street, Mendon, request a variance from Article 2.01A of the bylaws, which requires 200 feet of frontage along a public way and a minimum lot width of 200 feet, and from section 2.01B, which requires driveways within the lot's frontage and 10-foot setbacks. The applicant seeks relief from 200 foot of frontage down to 40.03 feet and allow a minimum lot width of 40 feet on parcel B. The applicant also seeks to allow a common driveway 18 feet in width, branching off to parcels A, B, and C. The property is located at 87-1 and 91 Millville Street, Assessors Map 16, 178, 87-1, and 16, 178, 91. Map and all the details can be viewed online. Fred, you're up.
All right, thank you very much. Good to see everybody again. It's been a while. Just make sure this mic's working. Is it?
I think so. Is the green light on?
Yes.
You're good.
All right, thank you. Okay. As you've already said, Jim, we're asking for a variance. Some of the variances are that we cannot comply with the current zoning bylaw for anything but one single-family house lot. Right now, there is 8 acres in the property you see here, which encompasses this entire perimeter. Craig and Leslie Burnham live in this house right here at 87 Millville Street. And they own another house on the property over here, which sits real close to the road. It's not number 91 Millville, and it's a 2-family house. It's an upstairs apartment and a downstairs apartment. And Craig and Leslie used to live in that house. And back in 1985, they had the good fortune to be able to obtain that lot to build their house, as they were more room than what was in the smaller house to raise a family. This property has been in the, not your family directly, Craig, but your extended, your grandfather. It's been in the family for over 100 years. And it's just kind of interesting to note that Craig and Leslie got it all started right there in that little house. And they were able to build on a building lot. And now they're looking to, in the long-range family plan, to be able to give each one of their children a building lot. Shelley would have this front lot, most likely, I think. And Shelley has a family. They have 2 children. And Craig is following a career path as a firefighter right here in Mendon. He's a lieutenant in the Mendon Fire Department. And you have to live within a certain distance of the station, right, Craig? What is it, how far?
Furthest point in Mendon would be out on Southwood Street
Okay,
to the station,
yeah.
would be the radius.
So they're both in a position of needing to put down their roots in a more substantial way than they ever have before. And living in Mendon, you do have the advantage of good schools here. So the family plan is working out.
My husband works for the Mendon Highway Department also.
Oh, okay, well, that works too. So, the family plan's underway, and unfortunately, we have a couple things working against us. And if I start with the house here, you can see the house is very close to the street. It is, and it's a small house at that. There are 2 living units in it, and but it's not in a condition that you would be able to look at it and think that you can bring this house back, and there's a lot of problems. It's an older home. The foundation is a fieldstone foundation, and they have water in the basement. It's just not matching up with the need of a place where you want to bring up your kids. Being so close to the road, it presents obvious safety issues. So in 1934, that's when this happened. They just about cut the front yard in half. The county commissioners laid out a county road called Millville Street, and the layout of that road brought the sideline of it within 14 feet of the front of the house. So that is really the personal need of the family to need some other type of structure to live in. And so if we follow the usual plan, which is to, if possible, live in your own single-family house, that's where we've come to you, and hopefully we can get some relief from strict compliance. We have, as engineer, I always have to advise my client as to what his options are. And so what we've compared this to is this other plan that is another possibility of how they could develop this property and get 2 single-family house lots out of it. But it would require the construction of a roadway, almost 500 feet long. And in order to pay for that roadway, you would have to build 4 houses in order to have the money to pay for the roadway to provide the frontage for 4 lots. But really, what they want is to have 2 lots, 1 for each of their kids. And so the preferred plan for the family is, instead of going through all the process of having a subdivision and constructing a subdivision roadway and convey it to the town, they prefer this. And what we have here is the existing driveway to the house. The duplex is right where this proposed common driveway is located. Common driveway is, we've done this at a few different locations throughout town. It's 18 feet wide. It provides access to 3 lots. 2 of them are building lots, and the 3rd one here is a stub that will just be left there for Craig and Leslie to access their backland. But they all have 1 access point off of Millville Street. So the 2 lots that we're asking for, one is fully compliant with the zoning bylaw, and that's the front one. The back one is oversized by, well, there's 2.29 acres, and the minimum size lot is 1.38 acres, or 60,000 square feet. So this is oversized. And Craig and Leslie, who live here, you can see they have a little encroachment, but they're encroaching on their own property. Not that that's proper, but they do have a pool on the line, but it's okay, you own both sides. There's a pool and a well right on the property line, and so what they would do is they would retain this. They own all of it. They would retain this much of it to keep with their house. And the common driveway would provide access to each single-family house lot without adding one driveway to Millville Street. It's the shape, it's the topography, it's the shape for a couple reasons. The shape of the property is causing the hardship, where if we applied the strict compliance of the zoning bylaw, we would only have one house lot for a number of acres, about 6 acres, not counting this existing lot.
What we're saying here is that you could have a regular subdivision with 4 homes being built. And what you're really looking for here is to really add one
Right.
to the existing for a total of 3 dwellings.
We actually have 3, we have 3 living units now, but one's a duplex. But yes, this would add another separate building, and with very little change to the neighborhood, very little change to traffic. And one aspect of traffic is recognizing certain hazards. That is something that we all build into our brains whenever we take a common trip in and or out of town. And we all know where those curves are. We know what's ahead. We know where the dangerous driveways are. And in this case, you come down this street, the thing you see for about 500 feet is this house. It lines right up with the street. And everybody knows where that house is, and everybody knows where that driveway is. The good thing about this is we're able to keep this common driveway right where that existing driveway is. There's not going to be any new hazard that these people are going to have to, the drivers that use Millville Street would have to learn. And the town benefits in that they don't have to maintain a 500-foot cul-de-sac every time it snows, every time you have to sand the roads. This is going to be privately owned, privately maintained, and privately funded. So we're hoping that we can continue with this family plan and get these kids in a home right here in Mendon.
I have one question about the variance request. And that it mentions the building that's there quite a bit and talks about its removal. Now, there's a separate process for demolition in the town, and I want to make clear that the determination made tonight would not affect your having to go through that process. Just want to make.
Oh, no, we've started that process.
Okay.
With the historical.
Okay, I just want to make sure that's clear. That portion's not part of the variance request.
There's no, this board has.
Right. I just wanted to make that clear for the record. That's all.
I have a email letter that I responded to the concerns of the Historical Commission. They had sent an email to me. Unfortunately, I don't have a Mendon Gov address. I've been using my personal email, so I wasn't getting the emails directly from the Historical Commission. At any rate, I did get it from the town clerk and responded to Lynn Roberts. I don't know if Lynn is.
She's not online.
She's not on.
That's what went on.
At any rate,
Kathy's there.
I'll read it to you. This is my response to their concern. And the Historical Commission's concern was that the demolition of the existing house might set a precedent because it's so close to the road. And basically, I responded back that there are no precedents set in any of the decisions this board makes. Each case stands on its own 2 feet, so to speak. At any rate, I'll briefly read it. It says, Lynn, thank you for reaching out to me with concerns of the Historical Commission regarding protection of historical structures in the town of Mendon. You mentioned in your email that the Commission's main fear is that if certain language, like distance from road, is permitted to be used as a reason for granting a permit, we'll be creating a precedent for every other historical home in Mendon. As chair of the Board of Appeals, I can assure you that each petition for zoning variance is heard, considered, and decided based upon its own merits. Decisions made for any particular location or property do not set precedents for other petitions for variance that follow. I should get this over to you for your records too. So.
Yep.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah,
if I may speak.
sure.
Attorney Horn for the submitting parties, you are absolutely correct. This is not binding upon you. There's nothing in law, there's nothing in case law that would indicate if you choose to do exactly the opposite on another project, fully within your authority. The only time that these things become precedents is if it ends up in a case law decision by a judge of competent jurisdiction. Nothing you do here tonight affects what you might do on another project at a later date.
Thank you. I also have a letter of support to the Board of Appeals. We are writing you in support of our neighbors, Craig and Leslie Burnham. They have informed us of their desire to divide their property and apply for a zoning variance so the children can each have a home. We are abutters to the property in question at 87-1/91 Millville Street. The Burnham family has informed us how they intend to divide the land and where their children would build houses. We believe the addition of 2 houses would not cause any inconveniences to the neighborhood. In conclusion, we are in full support of the Burnham's request for a variance. Sincerely, Robert, I can't read his name here, but the address is 105 Millville Road.
I think that's Robert Lambert.
Yes.
Okay. Phyllis Mead, 85 Millville Road. John Mead, 85 Millville Road. And Danielle Antonellis, 97 Millville Road. For the records, you guys have that now. Are there any,
So I just want to point out, Your hardship that you're talking about isn't the distance from the road necessarily, it's the shape of the property. And the properties that the shape of the property makes difficult, correct? I have that correct in,
No, I do consider this a hardship with the shape of the property because the shape,
right,
the shape was, with respect to the house. The reason the house gets pulled into the argument is that the house was there, the county came in and took land and made it 14 feet off the road. So that to me is shape of the property as it relates to the house, just because there's a myriad of issues that come up when you're that close to a street. If you got your kids out and playing in the yard, you're just not going to want to be there. I know the speed limit is 25 on Millville Street, but this is the end of a 500-foot straightaway, and nobody goes 25 miles per hour on
yeah,
Millville.
absolutely.
So it's the more easily applied logic to the variance, to the hardship aspect of the variance, would be the frontage. Frontage is why we're here. The frontage prevents us, even if the house was perfect, the frontage prevents us
Right,
from that second building lot.
right.
So that is, and we've, we're in harmony with the intent of the bylaw as we've laid it out, because we have the space, we have excess space out here. And so any expectation that the zoning bylaw is brought to this town in the way of privacy, convenience, it's all here. And we overcome the frontage requirement from a just a practical standpoint by putting this house back out here. No one's even going to see it. It's a football field away from his sister's house. And that's right. Yeah, just a little more than a football field. Maybe center field at Fenway. But the common driveway is the saber here in that it provides the safe access, egress, and entering and going to and from Millville Street on an 18-foot wide. Many of the streets in town are less than 18 feet wide. 18 feet wide gives you plenty of curvature to turn in to the property. And it's wide enough for two-way traffic, so if someone happens to be coming out, you can still pull in. So,
Additionally, the additional part of the hardship is you have town employees. You have a firefighter that's required to be within the jurisdiction of the town. You have a highway worker, and looking at the two of them, they're both rather young. They're going to be here a very long time. It's hard to get our town employees living in town when the salaries don't meet.
Trust me,
The
I know
prices
all
of
about that. I guess the one point I'm trying to make is that this hardship would exist with or without the house being there. That the hardship comes in the shape of the property, and that's the point I'm trying to get to, is that the house being there is irrelevant to what you're saying the hardship is, which is the shape of the property and in the need for a shared driveway. That's the point I'm trying to make, at least as I see it.
well, I mean, all of it is true.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a hardship in the house, there's a hardship in the
Right.
driveway, there's a hardship if you're a family that's going to live in that house. You're not going to want to let your kids out in the yard.
Yeah, understood.
So, and it's shaped because it's 14 feet. It's shaped of this, and that includes the house, because the house is 14 feet on the outside of a curve at the end of a 500-foot straightaway. So
It's cumulative.
it is a considerable risk that you take if you're gonna bring up a family in that house. I don't know, Craig, how many pets have you lost?
I'm sorry, how many German Shepherds I lost there?
Right, so there is a safety aspect to this. But we'll be going over that with the historic.
Right. I'm trying to, to what we're deciding tonight, as far as I'm concerned, the house itself that's already there, is irrelevant. We're talking about the shape of the property, we're talking about the shared driveway, and, you know, I just wanted to make that clear to address the concerns from the email, that's all.
Any other questions? Have a motion?
I make a motion to grant the variance.
Do we have any public comment?
Nobody online.
I just
No, there's
asked.
people there.
Okay, sorry.
He has to open it up for public comment first.
Excuse me.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry,
Dean Boucher.
I thought I just asked.
I'm in support of it. I think it's, you know, the best use of the land, you know, based on what they have for constraints, and I think it's a good thing to do. And I'm glad that the board is kind of recognizing this, because I have friends in town that had to move out of town and have not been able to move back in because they don't have the access to frontage for backlands and stuff that their families own too. So hopefully this steers the town in the right direction and makes better use of the land that we have.
Thank you very much.
I make a motion to grant the variance for 87-1 and 91 Millville Street for relief from Article 2, Section 2.01A and B, to allow a minimum frontage of 40.03 feet for parcel B, to allow for a minimum lot width of 40 feet for parcel B, to allow for a common driveway 18 feet in width entering the property from Millville Street, 12-foot driveways branching off the common driveway to parcels A, B, and C. The driveways which will not be contained wholly on each lot and will be located less than 10 feet from side lot lines.
Here a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Done.
Thank you very much.
Minutes, because it's too soon after that last one.
Mr. Horn, how are you?
Dan, you can stop.